very long time, leading to 2007-8 crash.
Right.
Um, if you can see it here,
Yep.
from 1970 all the way to 2005, there were, like, I think in 2005, 2004, at the peak, builders were building about $1.5 million new homes every year.
Right.
And when the market tanked in 2008, 9, 10, you see what happened to the builders? Everybody freaked out.
Right.
They said, hey, we're not building as many homes as we used to because we just don't want to go bank or belly up. So if you compare last 13 years to 50-year average, builders were building like half as many homes as they normally do. And guess what happened to population? Population did not stop growing. So the country is growing, the more and more people are, whether it's immigrants or local, people having babies, and population in the United States is growing. So the supply is not catching up with demand. So you see, like, the builders are ramping up, yet if we look at the average for the last 50 years, we're still way below where we should be. So that's one thing. Another thing, you add gasoline to the fire, and that's interest rates, right? So when affordability is out of this world, like, the homes were not as affordable as far as your monthly payment in the recorded history. We say, oh, the prices are so high. Well, but look at the payment, look at the interest rate and the total payment that you're paying, and compared to like historic rates that you were paying, it's very, very affordable. And then you add on top of it COVID, where people say, hey, you know what, I'm working from home, I want to enjoy my home. So you add all those things, and this is a perfect squeeze on the market. So it's not like this. Now everybody is like concerned, oh, is it going to crash? Or the good news is that this is not caused by lenders easing the lending.
Right.
It's not caused by Jocelyn giving up loans. Literally, like, it's a true story. If you work as a prostitute in 2005, you go to the accountant and you say, accountant, I'm a prostitute, I'm making $50,000 a year. He writes a one-page Word document stating that, and you go to Jocelyn and give it to Jocelyn, and they give you loan. That was the type of lending practices that we had in place. And so now lending practices are very strict. They're actually getting stricter and stricter. And if you don't have W-2, if a small business owner, it's a nightmare to get financing. Like Vinny will know, like, hey, they will give you your tax returns for the last 3 years, do this, do that. And so it's really, really difficult for small business owners. And for, if you W-2, it's kind of straightforward. So lending practices are pretty tight. So this appreciation that we're seeing now is not caused by eased lending. It's really caused by shortage of inventory, historically low interest rates, and also, like, I think COVID helped a little bit the real estate market. So that's if someone is asking you what's happening with the market, that's the answer that I would give.
Awesome, thank you.
Back in 2000 to 2006, no doc loans were wonderful. I was flipping 4 to 5 houses a year. No doc loans. It was amazing. And now I'm freaked out because I could do it again, but I can't do it again.
Yeah. So I think that the mortgage industry, they got way smarter than they were. They're not as reckless. And there are things that I think were added to prevent those things, like safety measures to prevent this type of Because imagine if lending even was released now, like, is hey, anyone can get a loan. Like this
Oh my
house,
gosh.
Roxanne would probably be 1.2 million in
I
3
know,
months.
really.
Yeah, and then it would go back to like 400 in 12 months because it would collapse, right?
Yeah, we don't want that. I also have about 3 articles to send you. In Austin, they are doing, they're building homes with the 3D machine.
With what?
You know how we have the 3D copier?
Yeah.
They developed a 3D machine to build homes.
Wow. You just put different like concrete, some glass, and it just keeps printing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, well, they use a special form of concrete. It's very interesting because it costs like $10,000 to build a 2-story, 4-bedroom home in Austin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Technology
Yep.
is going forward. All right, cool. Is there something that, Catherine, were you talking to us? Because you on mute, like we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Roxanne, can you send that to me as well? My husband has a 3D printer in the basement. I think he would enjoy that article.
It's 3 or 4 of them. I'll send you all of them.
Thank you.
Just Catherine, tell him to be very careful. Like, tell him not to print the house in the basement because maybe it might not fit.
He uses it to make drones. He uses it to make drones and drone.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Pretty cool. He's a dork.
That's awesome. All right. We will talk today about getting 10 transactions in the next 12 months, and we can dive into that unless someone has some kind of burning desire to. This is a productivity coaching always been a place for you guys. It's not about me, it's about you. So like, I want to make sure you get value out of those calls. So is there some kind of questions or some topics that you need to discuss before we get into that?
Could we get copies of your graphs,
Of what?
of the graphs that you just showed?
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now. I'll send you my whole newsletter. Just go ahead, do it, and copy it and send it to your sphere of influence. This is what I
Thank you.
mailed about a week ago. Just go ahead, do a spell check because you're gonna find a lot of English is my third language. So like people like I have some of my friends write me, hey, Art, do you want me to proofread it like before you send those things out? I said, no, it's fine. It's me. You know, it's okay.
I think that's a great newsletter to send to your past clients and sphere of influence,
Yeah.
and anybody actually.
Right. And then I also have another graph that I included here, like annual home price appreciation. For example, leading up to 2005, the homes were appreciating on average 10.3%. And for the last 4 years, it's only 6.3%. Obviously, this year with Roxanne's listing that will sell for 1.2 million, this will jump to like double digits, will be probably 20% appreciation year over year. So we will get into that bubble zone, I think like about 10% annual appreciation average. So just if you send this, you can remove my picture or leave it. It's up to you. But so basically, I'm going to share this with you all. Downloaded Word. Only with the people who are interested in that. Okay. Am I sharing my screen or not?
No.
Oh, I'm talking like, and like I think you guys are seeing what I'm sharing with you. Let's see. Share my screen. That's what I was talking about. Now you see it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like an annual home appreciation, 10%, leading to 2005 peak, and we had 6.3% on annual average appreciation, leading to 2021. again, once we factor in 2021, we'll probably jump it too. Because like I've seen many areas are 18% and up compared to last year. So we will probably be at about 10% average. And again,
Gene.
that's why I said, remove that picture. If you use my newsletter, remove that picture.
Oh, it's so cute.
Or use it. Yeah. It's up to you. All right. So all right, Karen.
Write your
sorry.
own newsletter? You don't
Yeah,
have
I just put that together and I get those charts. Like I don't do them myself. What's the company? Keeping Current
FAW?
Matters or something,
Keeping
right?
Matters
that's
Current?
Yeah, like
Yes.
they have such a good content. Like I'm not smart enough like to put it together. So I just, use what they have. And but just go ahead and use this. Just put your name down and put your picture and your pet, and you'll be good to go.
Those are really nice looking charts. And if you guys want something even more zip code specific, you can tap into DAR's monthly report. It's
Yeah.
like 20 pages long, but you can pull selectively from there for, price appreciation or, growth in listings or, median price, whatever statistic you want, you can just pull from there, cut and paste.
Yep.
That's what I did on a recent letter as well.
Catherine, do you want this? What's your email? I don't, it's not coming up. You on mute?
It's the first one, Catherine A. Landrum. Yep, thank you.
I'd love it too, Art, Karen.
Roxanne. Karen. Maybe I should be sending it to you guys for you to proofread before I mail it to 300 people and get comments as like, hey, are you gonna ever learn how to spell words? And let's see. Let me see one thing. Yeah. Oh, you see that? It should say call Charlie and me the first time, and the second, Charlie and I, it's okay, second time. Let me know if you want me to proofread any of your future posts. LOL. Hope you're doing well, my friend. So, yeah. Oh my God. And I wrote, I like when friends correct me. This is the only way for me to learn. Hope all is well. So I'll take this all day long. All right, so got you here. I want to make sure everybody. But that was a comment to my electronic newsletter, not the one print. Okay, got you all sending. Anyone else needs it? I see Matthew. Is that you, Matthew, right here?
Yep.
Matosu,
Yes, sir.
you're a secret real estate agent. Matosu00. I would not send my contact information to Matosu00 at Verizon.net. I was like, this guy, I'm not sure what he's doing here. All right, boom, gone. We good here. Helena, you should have it in your inbox.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. And let's, what else? Anything else before we talk about 10 properties sold in the next 12 months?
I just had my listing go under contract for 100,000 over the asking price. No appraisal contingency. And there were 3 others, almost 100,000 over.
What was the list price?
This price is $725.
Okay. and
House
what-
on 3 acres. Leesburg address off of Route 15 North Limestone School Road. Crazy.
So no appraisal?
No appraisal contingencies on any of the offers that came in. home inspection for void only. It is on well and septic, so there was a well and septic contingency, and ends up with the seller agreeing to contribute 3,900 for the purchaser to fix it once they've closed. So what they're doing though, I mean, I got proof of funds, but they still wanted to apply for financing with 5% down, but it's not subject to financing. So we are good to go. It's pending now, not even any contingencies.
And so there's no financial contingency.
No financing contingency. I mean, if they want to get financing, we don't care.
Mhm. Cool.
And we had total proof of funds for the full amount.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Then it should close. Well, let's see how can we get more of these listings, because it really like pretty much. I don't know. We need to ask Brad. Like, has he experienced anything like this, being a broker for like 45 years? Like, this is probably very.
I've been in for 41 years here in Loudoun County, and we've never seen anything like this.
Mhm. What goes up will have to go down at some point, but we don't know when. That's kind of a interesting thing, because it will slow down. It will, but when, right? Like with this, if the builders have been not building for the last 13 years, like how soon can we catch up, and how the prices will slow down, because the population is growing, and we keep talking, millennials not buying homes. Well, I think COVID and other things and low interest rates, I think that kind of get people to realize that it's still an American dream to be a homeowner, and that's the way to build wealth, and that's the way to. And how much wealth did the renters build in the last 12 months? Not much, right? And if you're owning a home, at some point, like I know a lot of clients, their nest egg is like their house, and they bought a house and they lived there for 20, 30 years, and whether they work for a police department or whatever, and they didn't save much money, but what they end up doing, they're selling their house for cash because they paid it off, and they end up going to states like whether it's Delaware or Florida, buying something for 150, 200,000, and just living happily after without mortgage, and just it's interesting. I had a lot of people who did that, and I'm asking, why are you doing it? He was like, well, I can't afford to live here. I can easily afford to live in so many great places in the United States by just selling my house. All right, cool. So steps to get 10 closings. What can we do to get 10 settlements in the next 12 months?
Prospect, prospect, prospect.
Yes, that's really one way to do it. If you just like wake up every morning and spend 3-4 hours a day doing it, you're definitely going to get it. But it's really painful for a lot of agents. So, and not everybody's willing to do it. Now, like this system that has been around for years, and many of you know that if we have 100 true relationships with 100 people, that there is mathematical certainty that you will get about 10 transactions closed. They might not move, they might not sell that year, but they will maybe refer you. Or if you look at the turnover rate, which is about 5%, out of 100 people, 5 should be moving within the next 12 months. Like, are they going to use you? Are they not going to use you? That's another question. And quite often when people do not use me, I look at the mirror and say, like, where did I drop the ball? What did I do? Like what my record says, how did I show up in their lives, and what are the reasons why in the world they did not use me? Because I'm sure everyone had those. Like, can you all agree that you had close friends or family that ended up going with someone else? So I've been thinking about this for a very, very long time. Like, if all I need is 100 sincere relationships where I trust them, they trust me, and I know I'm going to close 10 transactions out of those 100 people. Like, why in the world am I doing anything else? Why am cold calling? Why am doing things that are very uncomfortable? Well, for me, initially it was like I didn't have 100 people. I literally knew one person in Virginia, right? So that was not an option for me to that one person would probably call the hospital and say, this guy needs help. He keeps calling me every day. And it tells me the same thing. So I was like, well, this is like, I'm not going to call the same person 100 times in a week. So I had to go outside and build that 100 people. But if you can get to 100 people that when you call, they will answer and say, hi, Karen, thanks for checking in. What's up? And they will recognize you and they will be willing to have coffee with you. That's the type of people that I'm referring to. Like someone who trusts you, someone who is not a stranger, someone who will take a call from you, or maybe they will call you back, or they will text you, say, hey, I'm busy. Hi, Vinny, I see you called, I'm busy. Can we talk later? Like if you have those type of relationships of 100 people, guaranteed you're going to have 10 closed deals in the next 12 months. Now, I have a database of 8,000. 300 people are tagged as A plus, B, C. Out of those 300, there's about 100 probably people that I can say they would call me back and would refer me and would like me to succeed. And so everything else is kind of a noise. It's distraction. Like all the hundreds of leads that you just don't close deals with those people. So even if I deleted all the database and just left at 100 people, I could easily get the 10 transactions a year. Now, when I'm thinking on the plan, on really what is the plan, what makes those 100 people give me 10 transactions every year? Well, first of all, like anyone else, like step number one is you get 100 people that know you really well. If you don't have it, you have to find them. How you do it, it's up to you. I'm not here to tell how to do it. You can do open houses, you can do door knock, you can do door hangers. You guys are very good and coming up with different ways of building your database. But when you have them, that 100 people, that's where really I think what separates one agent from another, and the one who gets 10 transactions from the one who doesn't, is usually like few steps. Like once you have the 100 people, do you have them in some kind of database? It doesn't have to be command, whatever you use, but it needs to be in some kind of database, which actually reminds you to call the people. Right? You need systematic approach. I've tried and it doesn't work. I've had agents who come to productivity say, I have my own system. I just call those names and then guess what? 90% of those people are not being called and communicated with. If you start really tracking it, we had it on our team, like it needs to be measurable. It needs to be very simple. So that's where I personally use command and I use smart plans. Command pops up every 3 months, creates a task for me to call this guy. It's like, how hard is that? There's a task and there's a phone number on the task immediately. So I don't have to like really dig in for phone numbers, anything. I just start typing the phone number on my cell phone and the name shows up. Like if those people know you, you know them, or if you don't even have to look at their phone number, you probably have them in your phone book. So step number one is get 100 people in some kind of database. Step number two, you create a smart plan. You let that system tell you when to call. Don't rely on yourself, because you will overestimate and over report the numbers. You will think, oh my gosh, I'm making all those calls. And until you start tracking, it happens to me too. I feel like, oh, I had like 20 conversations, when in reality I had only 2 if I did not track them. So once you have a smart plan, I think the most important thing, I totally 100% agree, and I'm going to argue with anyone till I'm blue in the face. The most important thing, if you don't do anything, is having conversations with them once a quarter. Yeah, we'll talk about different things, mailings, emails, and other things, client appreciation events. But if you were to drop everything and just did one thing, that would be conversations with those people. And with millennials, or maybe it's okay to text them, and maybe it's better engagement. But for most people on this call, with exception of Matthew, maybe it's conversation. As of today, April 27th, there's no better way of getting business, is just by having those conversations. People are distracted. I cannot tell you how happy people are to get a phone call today. They are tired of this noise of pings and tweets and this, and here's a live call coming in from Karen. Say, hey, this is Karen. Hope you guys are doing well. Just wanted to check in. Hope all is well. You don't want to plug in your real estate thing? Don't. It's fine. It's fine. You're talking here about 100 people who you love and they love you, and you just staying in touch with them. Quite often, I love those people so much, like I don't even feel like calling, and I'm a little bit hesitant because it's Monday morning, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't like it's. And then I just, I take it and say, system told me to call, I'll make a call. And I make a call, I have the best conversation ever. I have like friends who are in Maryland, one is BMW car dealership, like manager, and he's a good friend of mine. We haven't been hanging out for a long time since we live in Virginia, but he sent me a referral. That referral sent me another referral. So it really works, even though they might be, far out. So call once a quarter. This is hands down the most important thing to the 100 people. Now, what I also recommend everyone do is mail them. If you don't have 100 people, if you have 10 people, please do yourself a favor, mail them at least once a quarter. I'm not asking you to do it every month. In perfect world, that will be every month, but I'm only mailing to 300 people, and I'm only mailing it now once a quarter, just because saving the money. And you don't have to do it yourself. You can outsource it. I just did my mailing, and I didn't have to print a single page. You upload it, and it's just very inexpensive. I think it's about $1 per mailer, 2 pages, envelope, everything, 100% printed, folded. You don't touch a thing. Click to mail. I think that's the company. Let me see. Yep.
Hey, Art, this is Helena. I discovered a cool place where they send out note cards or postcards, but it looks like it's your handwriting.
Yeah.
And the site is called thanks.io. And I'm just in love with it.
Mm. Yeah. They probably a little bit more expensive with you. There is how much is it per mailing? Do you know?
I forget right offhand. I've only discovered it and sent out one mailing. And I just don't recall if you subscribe to it, the mailing cost goes way down, but you could just use it on an as needed. And then your postage is more, obviously.
Yeah. So that's what I use, Click to Mail. Again, I'm not endorsing them or anything. I just found them online like about a year ago, and it really worked. It really worked. And what I like about it, because we used to do it in-house, and what happens when you do it in-house, it's labor intense, and you end up sometimes skipping the mailer. And here it's very easy, so it's no labor, just put something together. So I recommend mailing it 4 times a year to that group of 100 people. Then obviously you want to do an email. I'm getting emails from Karen and I love it. Really good content, sleek, clean looking. You definitely want to email everyone on your list once a month, at least once a month. If you want to do it more often, that's fine. But if you have a really good list of 100 people, you'll still get some unsubscribes, but a lot of them will be opening. Your opening rate will be much higher than, for example, like someone who, like me, I'm sending to like 8,000 and like none of those, like only the best 100 people are, really looking at engaging with those. So email them. You use MailChimp or Command, I think has features now to mail. I'm still using MailChimp. Up to 2,000 contacts does not cost you anything, and it's really easy to create and add things and customize. That's what I recommend. Now, one other thing is, if you want to really take a next step in building that 100 people, that group of referrals, you do client appreciation events and you participate with an office or with other agents, and you do that. That's kind of, I'm putting this towards the end, kind of not, I would not start with this, but I would definitely have this in my campaign, because you do at some point you like want to come from some kind of contribution. And I know like Dan talks about it, like he wants to always come from contribution. Like he would not make a call just to ask for business, and it's totally fine. So a lot of successful agents do some kind of client appreciation events, and others do like pop buys. Like Margaret, for example, she's extremely successful by just doing Buffini type of pop buys, where she stops at people's houses and drops off some goodies and shakes hands maybe and asks for business. So the simplicity of that is it always fascinates me. Like we try to overcomplicate on how we're going to get that, how we're going to build this, but this like model of getting 100 people in and staying in touch with them, it's really that simple. It's really that simple. Not everybody's going to use you, but what will happen, you're going to develop very close relationships with many of those people, and some of them will be your A pluses, where they will be sending you 1 or 2 transactions every year. They will be like warriors. They will be like, my gosh, they will be jumping into conversations and saying, hey, you got to talk to Art. And I don't know, like I'm thinking, I have not done it, totally never, but I've been thinking maybe doing some kind of drawing for my A plus sphere of influence, like an iPad or something, because you can't just give. It's illegal. We can't just bribe people, right, to give us referrals. But I feel really strong that we need to treat them special, right? We need to treat those people well, whether you take them for dinner or do something, because it's really. I mean, those are like if I look at all the return on investment, this is like 100x, 1000x. Like this group will be like 1000x on your investment compared to any other marketing that you're going to do, which will be 1x, 2x if you're lucky, right? So that's kind of that's my 10 transactions in next 12 months. Now, what would get in your way? Like, let's just have a conversation. What do you think would prevent getting 10 transactions from this simple yet proven model? Like, what can get in the way? Like, why? What are pitfalls or roadblocks that might stop you?
Well, not having a system, not being organized, not being disciplined, not following through. I mean, like you said, you have to systematize things. So like what you described, Art, is very similar to what I'm doing. And from day one, when I joined Keller, I read the MREA book and I try to follow the 33 touch plan. So what you described, for example, if you send out a monthly newsletter, that's 12 touches. If you send out a monthly smart plan, I do neighborhood nurture, which sends out the specific neighborhood stats for those people. That's once a month. So that's another 12. You're up to 24. If you touch them quarterly in a personal way, whether it's a phone call, personal email, text, coffee, whatever, that brings you up to 28. I send a birthday card if I know their birthday, a handwritten birthday card. Well, I got ones printed, but I always sign it and write a little personal note. So that's 29. And if you do 2 to 4 events a year, as you also alluded to, you're reaching out to everyone at least once, maybe 2 or 3 times to invite them to the event. So once you systematize everything and utilize command and have those tasks set up and those reminders, if you can be disciplined, even not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, going in there and just making that a priority, making sure you do those things, half of it's automated. The neighborhood nurture, the smart plans, they're automated. So, it's carving out, I think the biggest challenge is carving out the time, finding the time to do those quarterly touches, because those aren't 5-minute calls a lot of times. And if you've got 200 or 300 people in your sphere, in your database, that's a huge chunk of time. But, just systematizing it and being disciplined.
I love it, Karen. And thanks for reminding of the importance of the birthday cards. To take it to the next level, we've been doing it, and I have no clue why we phased it out, but we would buy $5 Starbucks cards.
Yep.
And $100, think about it.
That's
It's a
what I do.
$500 investment,
Yep.
right?
That's exactly
Literally,
right.
compared to any other marketing, we were blowing $30,000 a month in advertising, and $500 for the year. That's your budget basically on Starbucks gift cards. If you choose this $5 card, it goes this far. I can't even tell. My wife got it from her friend. Who she's not a real estate agent. she's just her friend, and she got a lot of people now just use electronic cards. They just send a link to your email so that you don't even have to mail anything, right? And my wife keeps talking about this, how instead of having 300 likes on, hey, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday on your Facebook, someone takes time and puts a card. They think man, Karen got in the car, she drove, she bought a $5 card, she put it in the envelope, she mailed it. You just touch their heart at a different level. And when you think about it, you just have a stack of cards and a stack of envelopes, and you just do it. If you work 50 weeks, it's 2 a week. Is that difficult to do? Do a couple mailings a week. And and what I've learned from Gary Keller, what Gary is doing with those thank you cards or birthday cards, he's using Sharpie, so he can write big letters and it fills up the card. You can write 3 words, happy birthday, or or 2, and just scribble underneath. But if you use a Sharpie, it's thicker than regular pen. It fills the card and it looks pretty cool, and you don't have to write the stories if you're not a writer. So that's that. Thanks, Karen, for bringing this up. This definitely would get you to 10 if you add that.
Yeah, and it's cool. Starbucks also offers the opportunity to personalize the cards. I don't do that because it's kind of pricey, and I'd rather just put the money into the gift, and the note card and the postage. But you can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
You can have an art group KW personalized Starbucks card that you send to your clients.
Yeah. So it's, guys, when I got to real estate in 2011, end of 2011, 2012 was my first year. When someone told me, I was like, seriously, you gotta be the biggest loser and you have no clue how to build businesses. Like that was my first take on it, because you know I had 80 people on the payroll when I joined the Keller Williams Homes. And I was like, no, this, you don't build business. Like, this is not business. What you're talking about is just like, you know, shaking hands and kissing babies. But it took me a few years to really understand what those agents were 100% accurate. This is how you do this business. This is a business, but that's how you run it. You don't hire 10 salespeople and set the, you know, have them set the appointments. You actually build it one family at a time. You stay in touch with them, and that's where your 10x or 1000x return will be. But we actually try to avoid it. I personally tried to avoid it for a long time. I was like, I'm going to go. First of all, I didn't have database, and then once you start having it, you kind of still want to continue to go outside. And I look at it as a business, but it's really relationships, and I had to really make like a shift in my mind to start really looking at it as these are the relationships that I need to be in. And when I look back on some of the business where I didn't get, I'm thinking, I don't know, some maybe like they thought maybe my ego is too big, maybe I'm having too good of a life already, I don't need an extra transaction. Some of our friends, I think they don't want you to know their finances. And I've had a lot of business where I closed that they not my friends, and they said they shared with me that they would never work with friend, or because they just don't feel comfortable anyone knowing their financial situation. So like there's different reasons. So I really stopped like taking it to my heart. People who did not use me, they still get invitations, they still get same treatment, they still, I kind of like give them even more love to hopefully not for them to start feeling bad, but hopefully to refer me in the future and just see that I'm not transactional. I wasn't looking just for that one transaction. I'm here to stay, and I'm here to help them. You know, I'm a very good example. This $2.7 million home that I just put under contract, and they're our like friends, and they said, no, Art, we have 7 agents. We're not going to use any of our 7 agent friends. We're going to get someone who we don't know, and someone who's not so we can fire them. We just don't want to mix friends in business, and we're not the pleasant sellers. We're not the same people as you know us, like as it comes down to business. And I said, guys, not a problem. If things don't work out, I'll be here. And guess what? The house did not sell. How is it not selling? I was all in. I was going after them like there's no tomorrow. Say, guys, and it's like, no, well, this other agent, and like, I was like, guys, like we're like next door. Give me a break. I was like, there's nothing you're gonna show me that I haven't seen in my life. There's nothing you're gonna say like. And I said, look, I look at this as a business. Like we are friends no matter what, whether you work with me or not. Give me an opportunity to sit down. You deserve that. I deserve that. Let's sit down and have a conversation. So I treated them as a total strangers. I sent them my pre-listing package. I treated them exactly the same way as I would treat any other seller. And I sat down with them, and we had a good conversation. And I said, this is not conversation about me. That's why I send you propaganda in advance. If you guys mind read about me, how good I am. I only left good things, good reviews. I removed all the bad ones. Obviously, you know, that helps. And we sat down and we had a good conversation. They said, okay, Art, like there's 2 more agents that we're going to meet. And then we will make a decision. So I said, absolutely. I said, guys, whatever decision you make, remember, it's not about me. It's not about this other agent. It's all about you. If you feel comfortable, you need to do what's right, with what feels good in your heart. And if it's not me, I said, I stayed friends with you when you didn't listen with me. I promise you, I'm going to stay friends with you regardless of your decision. And I really meant it. And I walked out. 5 minutes later, I got a text. They probably just chatted. So like, let's just do it, man. It's like, let's just do it. And they said probably like 25 times no to me. Right. And luckily it didn't sell with another agent, and so they went out of town. I got it on the market real quick. We're not supposed to even list it, but I just pulled the trigger and we went on the market while they were in California. I said, give me 2 days, we'll see how it goes, and I got it under contract before they came back. So it worked out well. So just when you get a no, it's just probably not the right time, maybe not the right situation. Just don't take this too hard. Because I remember few no's. I still remember them. Like I still remember them. Like it's still hurting a little bit. Yet I'm not stopping, like staying in touch with those people. And his excuse was like, well, Art, I didn't know that you do business in Alexandria. I said, seriously, dude? I mean, Alexandria is somehow like different worlds. I mean, it's from Fairfax or McLean or Sterling. So don't take this. Again, it's easier said than done, but you'll get some of it. Just follow your plan, as Karen said, like so have some kind of a system. A lot of agents, we are not very systematic. And we kind of running by the seat of our pants. We do one thing, we do another thing, and we do a third thing. And we always think that we're making a lot of contacts. But if you truly, honestly look at yourself and say, how many contacts have I made in the last 7 days? How many contacts did I make in the last 30 days? And I will bet you that it's probably not that many. Handful. And it's, when my coach said years ago, Art, like if you want to make the money that you want to make and build the business that you want to build, you have to make 20 contacts. I said, okay, I'm on it. It's easy. It was so easy to say until I really had to get my first few contacts in. It takes about 3 to 4 hours of calls to get so many contacts if you're lucky. So it's not easy, but the great news is what I've learned is you really don't need to have 20 contacts. I think if you have 5 contacts a day, you will be going really, really far in this business. Okay, we got 10 minutes. What do you want to talk? What challenges you're facing, if any? What do you need help with? This is your time. Productivity coaching is your time. What's working well for you? Share it with the group. What's not working? Share it with the group. So hopefully we learn from your mistakes. Anyone? Elena, Karen, Catherine, Vinny. Vinny, are you making any progress with your door hangers?
One listing so far, but I've only really been doing it since December. And I'm getting ready to do another batch next weekend. So like you said before, now I'm doing it every 2 weeks for a while.
Mm-hmm. And are you going to leverage the current listing on the new hanger, or the message is going to be the same?
It's still the same hanger, but I will leverage in my package that I give.
Mm-hmm. No. Having for sale sign is, I don't know if there's a better marketing. But I've never had any better marketing system than having for sale sign. Like I already had maybe 7 or 8 conversations in my neighborhood just because of that one for sale sign. I had one consultation in the neighborhood because of it's like 5 years I haven't had that type of exposure what one sign had done in a week or 2 weeks. So once you get it, you just have to leverage it and really see how much you can get out of it. Because once you have one sign, it's so much easier to get the second one. Karen, what's working for you? Like what would you recommend to the group?
Well, other than what I've already talked about, I mean, I would say if you do nothing else, I agree with your statement about the quarterly touches are the most important. Secondary to that for me has just been my monthly newsletter, because it's not generic content, it's original content. I've always gotten great feedback on that. Something else that's worked for me, that's starting to work, I guess I should say, because I haven't been doing this terribly long. something that's starting to work for me is the farming of like micro areas, like really targeted areas of my neighborhood, like certain types of homes or certain streets. And like you said, when I've had listings, I've leveraged that because neighbors will see my sign once, twice, 3 times. I also sent out a just sold postcard. I've done door hangers, and I've done 2 nice letters, similar to yours, you know, with statistics and so forth. So I've hit them from a lot of different angles. And I mean, there was even one listing I competed for and didn't get, but they were so impressed with all my marketing, I ended up not getting it because their old agent finally called them back and they felt loyalty to an agent they had worked with on several past transactions. But they just kept saying, we're so impressed with your presentation. We're so impressed with your marketing, which almost made it worse because it was like, well, then maybe you should go with me. But yeah, they ended up giving it to someone that they really felt this strong loyalty towards. But, you know, clearly I've gotten the feedback that the farming and the multifaceted marketing has worked. And I'm not doing it monthly. I'm really not. I'm doing it like every 3 months, 4 months. And I'm sure I could be more effective at it if I just literally had the time to focus on that. It's just, you know, it's always prioritizing and time management and just having enough hours in the day to do all this stuff.
It's interesting, Karen, because what you shared with, like, it really resonated with me. I had so many of them kind of saying like, oh yeah, well, like, I love you came polished, prepared, like it's your marketing. It's, man, it was such a hard decision, and yet we ended up going with someone else. I can't tell you, like, it took me, I was like down for so many times in my career, but recently I cannot remember one time when it happened to me. It's interesting. I developed some kind of skill to overcome that, where like I would be top 2. No matter like what consultation I would go, I would get to like top 2. Sometimes I would feel, well, they just tell me that. They maybe say it to everybody else, but no, I had people really like disqualifying 8 people and saying like, Art, it's between you and this other girl. And we just felt strong, you know, it was such a tough decision for us, and we ended up going with her. And it's like, I felt like you was like heartbroken. You better, like, I better be a loser than just coming in second. It's even like, I don't know. So, but now I had a very similar situation with a townhouse in Reston. They called off my sign in McLean, and it happened to be my daughter's teacher. And I connected the dots, and I ran to show it like my own listing. Like normally it's like, you know, you become a door opener, and you have no value in opening doors for buyers who have other agents, or they use you just a door opener, right? So I ran and I met them, and they were from day one say, Art, we use this other agent. We already, she was our agent when we bought it. She's wonderful, and we're going to work with her. And I said, hey, absolutely. I respect that, and I really love loyal people, and I'm the same way. And I said, yet, have you thought about interviewing a couple of agents just to make sure that you're doing the right thing? Because it's a little bit different skill set on the listing side. And I'm not saying, I don't know who your agent was, and I don't know anything about you. I'm not saying she's not great, but I'm just like, why wouldn't you have a couple more interviews just to make sure that you are doing the right thing? Because this is the largest financial transaction most likely in your lifetime, isn't it? And they say, yeah, absolutely. I say, well, like, it really won't cost you anything, and why won't you? And they say, yeah, okay, Art, well, thank you, we'll think about it. You know, it's like, yeah, thanks, it's a great idea, but it's like, it's not going anywhere. I feel like it's definitely not going anywhere. So like, I ran out of all the ammunition. Then I called them like following day. I said, hey, I looked at some other homes. There's one actually that will be coming soon. It's not yet listed. Would you like to look at it? Say, well, no. And there's like, okay, wonderful. How about your house in Rest? Have you guys made a decision? Yeah, we're just gonna we had a great meeting with that agent, and we'll just go with her. And I said, look, guys, I said, like, I really don't want you to make a mistake. I'm not saying she's not good, but what's stopping you from just having one more opinion as far as pricing? There's a range of commissions that we offer. Like, there's so many different things. So I can actually save you $10,000. And he just, let me talk to Ashley. Let me, so like, I think that the amount when I said, and I just use this like, okay, well, if I know this townhouse will fly, it will literally be bloodbath, like when it goes on the market. It's going to be multiple offers. So even if I get like, I don't know, half of the percentage, I would make money. But if I take 1.5, so long story short, I ended up taking between you and me and the walls and Zoom at 4%. And I gave 2% to the buyer's agent, and I kept 2. So 2% in this market, it was literally 2 hours of work, right? It went $20,000 over asking, and we overpriced it by 20. So about $40,000 more than they were expecting to get. I'm their hero. I'm helping them to buy a house in Macleay now. We put them in the rental, and I'm their new agent of choice. And whatever it takes, sometimes it's money, and I think money really starts helps to get your foot in the door, right? And I use it as the last resort. Like, this is not my value proposition, but this is, Karen, I think, my kind of an answer to sometimes being the second. And I was like, and some agent will say, well, I would never discount my commission. I say, well, wonderful. This is your business decision. My business decision is I'll take $15,000 commission all day long. Like, I look not at commission. I care less about commission. Like this, 2.7, I'm not getting 6%. I'm getting what I learned? They had this luxury agent. I'm not going to give the name. And that luxury agent charged only 0.5% more than I'm charging them. So it's really like everybody is sharpening their pencils to get in. And so quite often is we won't know the truth. Like, what happened? Was it at a 0.5 percentage point that was getting in our way? So really good script is like what I use as I said, Mrs. Seller, Mr. Seller, I will not let the commission get in our way in doing business together. If that's the only thing that's getting in our way, we'll make sure we'll figure this out, right? And that kind of leaves it open. And then at the kitchen table, as you sit down, you do whatever you have to do, especially on the listing side. It's going to sell in 1 week. So don't be in second. I think that money talks for the most people. And if you are very confident and you project confidence and you can show them how you're going to save them $5,000 or $10,000, and by earning another $10,000 for yourself, like, why not do it? Don't be a second one. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Vinny, Helena, Matthew. Have a great hour. And if you can, join us in, no, not hour, 30 minutes.
Yep.
In 30 minutes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Art.
Let's do 10 homes the next 12 months, at least on top of what you already did.